Well, hello everyone. It's Jeff from Mid-Atlantic Craps, and welcome back to the YouTube channel of my channel, as well as Ed from Roll to Win. Ed's in the middle. Oh, I guess you're that way, aren't you, Ed? No, you're that way. Anyway, Ed, good evening. Gargoil, good evening. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing? I'm
Doing
getting over a
good.
nasty cold.
Well, I'm sorry
Really,
that
really nasty cold.
I'm sorry that you have been sick. I know that you're was feeling under the weather a little while ago, but welcome to this, the first night of unraveling the mysteries of dice influence with the two of you. I'm just going to be moderating the show, kind of producing the show. I want to tell both people on both channels, guys, right now on the East Coast, if you don't know what's happening, there is a humongous storm that's moved through the Midwest from all the way from Canada down to the Gulf. It's moving through. Currently, right now, I have sustained winds at 30 miles per hour outside my house. The rain comes and it goes. I'm hoping, got my fingers crossed, that the power stays with us. My ups would keep me up for only so long. Wow. I just did realize that on my channel, we weren't live, so I'm waiting for me to go live. Here we go, guys. Sorry about that. Guys, you missed the opening on my channel, but you caught it on Ed's channel. Let's start over again. Ed! Welcome to the show. Go. Welcome to the show. Ed, I did what you typically do on the show, and it was my stupidity for doing it. But here we are.
Oh.
They missed the opening riff of the show. That was one hell of a riff. But welcome,
It was a
guys.
great riff.
Yes, guys, on my channel, Mid-Atlantic Craps channel, you're going to catch this, but I did have, I was telling them that I have 30-mile-an-hour sustained winds currently at my house. Heavy rain just ended. We've got that nor'easter that's moving up the coast, the whole storm system that went through. If for some reason it goes down, we'll try to come back, but if not, we're going to try to make this show happen. We're going to keep it to about an hour. So with further ado, let's go ahead and guys, you ready to get the show started? And we'll start out with I guess with our little slide presentation about what expectations can be had. So if you're ready to get it started, let's do it. You ready?
Ready.
Let's go.
Oh, what can I say? Live YouTube is certainly something if for those guys that produce live YouTube, I see a lot of YouTube content providers in here, a lot of people that do live stuff. Welcome to the world of live entertainment. The DI, unraveling the mysteries of DI, dice influence. It's dice influence, not dice influencer. But let's go through the disclaimer, guys. We want to let you know right off the bat that we are not selling anything. We don't guarantee anything, and information shared is based on experience and opinions, and will provide viable and verifiable sources when we are stating the facts. I shouldn't say we, because I actually don't have the facts, because I'm not the expert. The experts are beneath me right down there. So let's go over and talk about what you can expect in the series. Ed, you want to take this one?
Sure. Our conversations will be about what a DI is and is not. We're going to talk about mindset, mindfulness, mechanics, and money management. All those M's right there. We're going to eventually work on live toss mechanics and develop that with select volunteers. We're going to start out with Sideshow Gamble, as you know. Conversations about different ways or different tosses and throws of the mechanics. We're going to go through eventually a book of Gargoil, 720 rolls in Bone Tracker. I'm probably going to do a lot of that part. And then other content suggested by the viewers of these channels as it strikes our interest.
Correct. And then tonight, the segment, Gargoyle, you want to talk about what we can expect tonight?
Yeah, we're just going to talk about, in general, what is a dice influencer, or what is dice influencer? The different types of players, how to identify each type, and then just a quick progress report on the new toss and bouncy table.
All
and
right.
then we'll open it up to Q&A.
Yep, we'll have some question and answer. So, guys, the show is about an hour long each time. We're going to try to keep it to an hour the best that we can. the Q&A will be the telltale sign whether we're going to go over the hour, but we're really going to try to keep it an hour about every other week from here on out. Chris from Sideshow Gamble, who is over in the chat on my side, is in the chat on Mid Atlantic Crap side of it. We are dual streaming on both channels. So I'm going to back up to Ed's slide. I just want to let you guys know with this slide right here, all these things are not tonight. It's going to be over the course of several months. It's going to take us several months to get there.
Yeah.
So, with that said, let me switch back to another screen here.
Note the word series at the top.
Yes, series. That is correct. Yep, that is correct. So, here we are. We got a lot of people that are on both sides of the of our chats. We're dual streaming. Like I said, we do have Chris from Sideshow Gamble here. I'm glad he's here. He's going to be watching to kind of figure out what he's got himself into, maybe. But we also have people over on Ed's side. There's El Toro that's there. I did see Biff. Yep, he's got some bad weather over on his side. I saw Alfredo said they had some bad winds in Texas last night. We've got bad weather showing up there. Looks like Ardell's got snow in the Midwest. So, guys, welcome to everybody that's here. I can't mention everybody in both chats. Ed's got 60 people watching on his channel. I currently have 40 on my channel, so we've got 100 people currently watching. We want to get on with the content. So, Gargoil, the floor is yours. Where do you want to start, my friend?
Well, I guess we're going to start with what is a DI? What is DI? What is dice influence? And a lot of people have heard me talk about myself pretty much saying that DI is a way of life for me. And a lot of the things that we're gonna talk about is about my opinion and what I believe the dice influence is or is about. So with that, let's jump into it. You can put that presentation, and I have my cheat sheets, but my eyes are I don't know what's going on, but so I may step in here a little bit and kind of watch it on the big screen or on the computer.
All right.
So if you just allow me just 1 second.
Take your time. This is live YouTube. I've already screwed up on my side. John would have been impressed with the music, but what can I say? So I'll do the filler. When you're ready, you start talking.
I'm ready. So if you got the screen up, yeah. So dice influence, what people don't realize is dice influence is about only a small portion of it is about the actual dice set and the dice toss. The big portion about a dice influence is the knowledge, the skill set, and the discipline of the game. So with the knowledge, you gotta know about craps, how to bet, what the bets are, why the bets are made that way. Why does the layout look like that? Why do you have small numbers, big numbers? Why do you have the middle bets? Everything in the casino is made for a reason. Don't ever kid yourself that something in the casino is made by happenstance. They do something for a reason. Casinos spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on trying to find out how to make money, and they bring it into the casino. There's a reason for like what a layout looks like and why the bets on it are like that. So as somebody who's trying to play with an advantage, it's good to know about some of this stuff. It's good to know about the math of the game, and physics. A lot of people forget about the physics of dice influencing. You have two objects going against an object, which is the table, and then against another object with eggshells, and then coming back at an object. There's physics to that. We'll explore the physics of some dice tosses later in later segments, but you need to know about that. skill set. You know, um, you got to have hand-eye coordination. This, if you're going to try and toss a dice a certain way, you need to practice and you need to train yourself, and you need to be consistent in what you're doing. Success comes from consistency. I remember Heavy says it doesn't matter how you throw the dice, but if you throw it in a consistent manner, you will gain an advantage, regardless of what that advantage is or what the end result is. But if you can throw the dice the same way every time and get almost the same result every time, you're gonna figure out how to bet and get and make money. Um, Discipline. You've always heard me talk about discipline. You gotta know when to bet, when to play, and when to walk away.
Gargoyle, your
All
camera
the
froze on my end.
My
I don't know
camera
if it's
froze.
frozen. It's
Yeah, your
froze on
audio's
my side.
yeah, your
The
audio
audio's
is
working fine.
live, but your camera has froze. Yep. So
All right, hang on.
you may want to
Hang on.
refresh your screen. Yep. But either way, you can keep talking if you can see the slide. You are frozen up. We can switch over to Ed, and you can disconnect and reconnect at a later time. Just keep talking about the slide. You
Um,
are frozen.
okay, so yeah, for some reason cameras are frozen. Um, so Ed, why don't you give your opinion about what you think dice influence is, and I'll disconnect and reconnect real quick. Sorry about that.
All right. Well, I start at the first bullet point. I mean, it is a lot more than just setting the dice and tossing the dice. There's so much more for me. There's a huge mental game that you got to overcome picking up the dice to set them. You got to overcome that mental aspect of how to play. If you don't know how to play the game, you need to take lessons just on how to play the game. The math obviously is important. I'm a big in the past on some of my videos, people have heard me talk a lot about the physics of the game that I use. Um, I think it's critical. Which one outweighs the other? Does the math outweigh the physics, or the physics outweigh the math? Well, the math never changes, and neither does the physics. But you've got to learn how to take the physical part and bring it into an advantage to yourself, so that you can use the math of the game. So you've got to use the physics so that you can use the math. Does that make sense? That's the way I look at it.
Okay. Yep.
I
You're
don't
back
have
now,
any
Gene.
discipline.
Yeah, discipline is really hard. But Gene,
Yeah,
you're
no,
back
discipline's
online now.
critical, and I jokingly say I don't have discipline. I do have a discipline. Everybody's got a
All right,
different level, but I do have discipline's
all right,
critical.
guys. I'm sorry. I'm back with you.
You're back.
Uh,
Yep,
Yep.
Technology. You gotta love technology. Um,
yep.
Apparently somebody didn't like what I was saying and pulled the plug. Um, um, so a lot of people talk about the math of the game, when you come to dice influence. And, you know, I believe that you can sway the math. As a DI can sway the math. And I'm not just talking about, uh, eh, Jeff, sorry, just keep that slide back on, please. Yeah, thank you. Because I'm reading from it because I can't read my handwriting. Cheat sheet. Um, so live, guys. This is just what you get when you're live. When we're talking about swaying the math, we're talking about how do you extend a roll. People tell you I hear it. Math of the game is you're going to get a 7, 1 in 6 rolls. But that's not 1 in 6 on every roll. That's averaging over a lifetime of play, or averaging over a certain period of time. Dice coach during the freshman tour talked about how the math has to equals itself in the universe. The seven goes away for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it shows up, and it shows up in leaps and bounds because the universe is coming back together. Well, you can, you can change that by pretty much not staying at the table. You win, you get out. There are ways that you do that, and you do that through discipline and the you can sway the outcome and the result. Um, how? Well, we can do it through research and walkthroughs. This is the mindfulness that we're going to talk about in the series. Stepping up to the table. That's the mental aspect of the game. Betting, knowledge, money management, that stuff, and the mechanics. How you stand, how you set, how you grip, how you toss. All these things, pretty much help to sway the math so that you can play with an advantage as a dice influence, or as you can help with dice. Ed, anything you want to add on here before we move to the next slide?
No, let's go ahead.
All right. So, what are the different kinds of dice influencers? Well, first of all, you got people that play this full time, right? Um, that you probably don't see them at the table a lot. You probably won't know that they're playing it full time. Usually, they go in, they're either grinding or they go in, do their thing, and leave. But I know of at least two people that do this full time. They're not making out there breaking the bank, making thousands and thousands of dollars. They're just making extra money and leaving. And they're doing it on a successful basis. So there's, you know, and they are sometimes they're using their own dice influence to do that. And sometimes they're using common sense betting and strategies to bet on others. Um, and that's all that is part of DI. Um, you know, and I don't know if I mentioned this before or not, but the whole betting strategy, knowledge, all that stuff is part of the dice influence, right? Um, you got the diehard folks, you know, those are the ones that practice, 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 put rolls in Bone Tracker, go out there, have a bankroll, pretty much a high bankroll. They try and do their own thing, and then they go out and you know play with others later. I consider myself as a diehard DI. I play in the mornings when everybody's asleep, but and I practice like heck on this table. I track my rolls. I do everything there is to do, and I've been doing it for years, 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 just to gain a little bit of advantage and just to kind of, you know, been able to, to be positive, stay positive in the game. Um, Others do it for entertainment. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with doing it full time, being a diehard, or for entertainment. If you're not one of, if you're doing it for entertainment, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people do both. Be entertainment at night and then just be a diehard in the morning. So I do it. I go out and play with folks, and then I do my thing. Um, Again, a lot of these opinions I'm sharing from my personal way of life as a GI. Other diehards may do it different. So there's nothing wrong. The, the last category is all the hustlers and the fakers, liars, scammers, trolls, everybody else out there. People that come on and say, I have godlike powers. I can go out there and keep the table. You better not bet the don't on me because I burn it up. You're not doing this, you're not doing that. But when you challenge them, they're nowhere to be found. You say, okay, well, let's go to the casino, man. I have a bankroll. You think you can snipe numbers? I'll share my winnings with you. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is roll the dice. I will make all the bets and we'll split it 50-50. Crickets. Because they don't, they can't. They're just lying. They're just scamming. So for any new viewers, people have heard me say this a lot on this channel, so I'm not gonna keep repeating it. But any new viewers, do your research. Make sure you know what these people are talking about. Don't just you know follow blindly because these people, they're just going to take your money and go. Now, again, how do you identify each one of those categories? Well, you can identify them by their behaviors, how they behave, whether they're online or offline. If you ever see them offline, by their content, by their messaging. You watch multiple videos, and if their mind changes based on the day of the week and the type of video, then they're up to something. But if the messaging is the same, regardless of what that messaging is, at least you know where that person stands. Um, what is their goal? People put out videos. What's their goal with the video? We're doing a video over here. We're doing a series. What's our goal? I know what my goal is. My goal is to help others the way others have helped me. I'm not gaining any money. I don't want any accolade. I don't want any recognition or anything. I just want people, if they ever become successful, to say, you know what, hey Gargoil, thanks. That's all I want. I don't need any of that stuff, and I don't need to prove anything to anybody. I've already proven everything I need to do to myself. But I know, just like people help me, I'm paying it forward. Ed may have other goals, and maybe I'll let him talk about that in a second. But you gotta know what folks' end game is when they're out there on YouTube or on message boards and stuff like that. Before I move on, Ed, what's your take on this? What is your goal out of this?
My goal out of the series is for us to have better players at the table, to be able to give people that are practicing at home some standard of which they can base what their practice is doing. Um, I think all of us can take ourselves to a point, and ultimately we have to decide if we're happy with that point or do we seek someone else. And I'm not trying to push anybody anywhere. I'm just saying that was what happened to me. I got to a certain point, and I thought maybe I needed to get a little professional viewpoint on it. And so it is paying it forward. I've got a lot of great friends in the community that I've interviewed. So I feel like it's a good thing for us to do, to try to improve what's going on, get some of the snake oil out of YouTube, and to in a way confront some of the trolls and this and that we've had over the years. I've been doing this 3 years, and it'll wear your ass out doing it. So I'm glad we're doing this and trying to hit it head on.
Cool.
All right.
Cool. And Jeff, as the production manager, what is your goal?
Ask that question again. I'm sorry.
As the production manager, what is your goal?
To make sure that the stream goes smooth and I don't screw up like I did on my channel to get it started. Ed's channel started out right, but no, I want to learn. I want to be able to talk about the different grips. I want to talk about how do you approach the landing zone? How do you adjust the landing zone? When do you change the dice set if necessary? How to start from the mechanics of the grip through the release. launching, the release, the follow through, all that. I'm looking forward to Chris coming on from Sideshow Gamble, coming on the channel and actually helping us do those things in real time, live, not recorded, live. That we're going to try every episode. We're going to try to do live the best that we can. And my job is to keep that thing moving, and I'm here to learn, just like everybody that's in this chat now, as I go through and look at all these people that are here. So that's my goal. I do want to point out one thing here. I know that Ed mentioned trolls. Maybe I was busy adjusting some settings here. Did you talk about the hustlers, the fakes, the liars, and the scammers, or did I miss that?
Yes, I did.
Okay, that I missed it. Sorry, guys. We can move on. So,
It's all right. I can talk about him again, but I did promise El Toro I'm going to be nice.
well, go ahead, and if you want to, you talk away.
Yeah. So well, no, I'm good, and yeah, thanks. You can take the PowerPoint. Just wanna get it a little bit real here, folks. DI is a personal journey. Everybody experiences it to their own. My journey in this, and you don't we don't need the slides anymore, Jeff. Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
My journey in this was different than Ed, and it may continue to be different than Ed. And it's not a short journey. If it it's as long and as successful as you want it to be, because just like anything you do in life that you want it to be successful, you have to believe in it. You have to put your faith in it. You have to work at it, and you're gonna have to overcome all the heartache, failures, and everything else, and you have to overcome all the bad mouthing and haters, because as soon as you start doing something that you think you're gonna be successful at, people are coming at you from all over the place. Some because they don't want you to be successful. Others because they can't be as successful as you.
Correct.
So if you are on a DI journey, I guarantee people are talking to you, laughing at you behind your back and all that stuff. You gotta put all that stuff behind you. But you gotta believe in what you're doing. 100%. You can't be straddling the fence. Because if you straddle the fence at one point, you're gonna fall and bust your balls. If you don't believe in something 100% and you work at it to be successful, it's not gonna be successful. You get out of that dice influencing what you put into it. It's just that way. And I tell people, you can't prove the eye. Yeah. Show me some roles and books. You show them that. Well, you could have made them up. Come play live with, and on and on and on. Putting that aside, the eye is an experience. If you don't experience it for yourself, you're not going to do it. Until it hits you what you're doing at the table and how you're approaching the mental aspect, the physical aspect, the skill set, and all that stuff, it's not going to click. And for some, it clicks really fast. For others, it may take time. But everybody's journey is different. All I can show you, all Ed can show you, all Heavy can show you, Dice Coach, others, all we can show you is the basics, the foundation, the math, the betting, the strategies behind it. but then you take it and you make it your own. A certain toss, you take it and make it your own. You get as comfortable with it as you want, and you do, and you make it your own. This is what dice influencing is. And people laugh at my Gargoil practices 100 hours. Where's mine? Look, I should have had him handy. Hang on.
We can see him in the little small video camera there. There we go.
This is
There you go.
this is 2 weeks, 2 weeks back and forth worth of rolls. Look at this. All with stuff like how the roll was, how the bounce was. This
Hold
is
that back
just
up there.
for 2 weeks.
G, put that back up there for a second.
Just 2 weeks worth of rolls. This is about 20 pages. Why me personally? Why do I do this? I want to know if what I'm doing here is wasting my time, because if it is wasting my time, I got better things to do. I can go, have fun with my cats up there, enjoy time before they pass away. I could, let me take that back. I can go spend time with my wife, and then
There
maybe
you
spend
go.
time with my cats, But no, I'm out here doing this because I know the process. I've been through the process. I've lived it. I've done it before. And when Ed approached me about this, I said, okay, but we're going to do it right way. I'm going to tear down my layouts and table, rebuild it, make it bouncy so that people can see the real struggle. This is a struggle. You're going to have some good days and you're going to have some bad days. I opened my big mouth last night on a chat with both Ed and Jeff, and I said, man, I'm ready for crap seed. I just rolled 20 roll hand, a 28 and a 32. I'm ready. Guess what? Today, I couldn't get four rolls in before the 7. You changing nothing, doing the same thing. You don't think it's frustrating? It is. But it's a learning process. The eye is a learning process. It's a way of life. You have to live it. You have to deal with it. Setting the dice and throwing it is maybe 15% of the eye. I wish they wouldn't call it dice influence. I honestly, I don't even like advantage play, because people say, well, what's the advantage? Well, I wish there was another word, but just like dice tosses, just like, all these, I don't name them. I just pass the information, They call it DI, dice influence. So we're going to stick with that. I'm not going to call it something else. But that's the journey that we're going to take you through. We're going to have some talking sessions sometimes where we're going to show you some stuff. I'm going to put these in Bone Tracker and have Ed talk you through it and then once I get better, I'm going to do another book of 720 and see if I'm better, worse, with my toss. We'll break down different types of tosses. Yes, I know people are going to take this and run with it, but I apologize to the smart people out there watching, but it's kind of like grading on a curve. I have to speak slow so that the people that cheated their way out of kindergarten would understand and then not misconstrue what I'm about to say. We will talk about why the math and physics prove that the par toss has the best odds to stay on axis. It didn't prove that toss is better than this, or you can have 20 rolls, 30 rolls. None of that has been proven. It just proves that it has the better odds out of all the other tosses to stay on axis. And we're going to do it. We're going to do it on this table. And I'm going to show you the physics and mechanics of it. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. And we're going to talk about stuff that you viewers want to see. And then I know there's going to be a lot of questions. We're going to help Sideshow. One of the things I told Ed is I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to see him. I don't want to see any of his throws. I want the first time I see him on video is for him to be walking in fresh. I don't want to know anything about him because I don't want, I don't, this is live. This is fresh. I want to see him just like coming in, walking into a session and saying, here's how I throw, you know, let me know. Um, Jeff and Ed's been talking to him, but if he's on the chat, he can tell you. I don't even have his number because if I would ask. Well, never mind.
Hey, G.
um,
Hey, G.
yes,
Gargoil,
yes,
hold on one second. I know we have a question and answer period coming up in about 8 minutes, and yes, that means that we've been streaming almost 40 minutes of our hour show here. Chris from Sideshow Gamble actually poses a very good question that I think maybe we should talk about before we get to the question and answer period. So if you don't mind, I'd like to display that question so you guys can see it. He's basically saying that between Ed and Gargoyle, what is the biggest challenge you faced personally when you started focusing your style towards DI in the beginning of your journey? And I think he wants to know that because he's going to be the guinea pig, if you will, the student. So maybe we should talk about that just a little bit.
the biggest
Here,
challenge.
I'll put it back up. It's back up there, G. There you
What
go.
is the biggest challenge you faced personally when you started focusing your style toward DI in the beginning of your journey?
Yeah.
My biggest challenge was people started laughing at me, saying that I'm wasting my time. It was personal. When I started spending money on equipment, craps table, and all that stuff, and spending time, they're like, dude, you can't. You, this is random. And by the way, I forgot to do this earlier, so I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna Google what is random. You guys can do it with me if you want.
Is this a class exercise?
This is a class exercise.
That means we
Random.
got a dual task. How do you
So
dual task when you're drinking brown water?
yeah, you can't dual test. So you just have to listen. Random.
Okay.
Made, done, happening, or chosen without method or conscious decision. I'm gonna read it again. Made, done, happening, or chosen without method or conscious decision. That means that if somebody walks up here and picks up the dice and throws it, it's random. But if you're trying to do something with it, you're now decreasing the randomness. And that's not me. Now people are going to go all over it and just, I just read what the definition of from Google. If you got a problem with that, call Google. Don't call me. All right?
All right. Yeah.
But if you just pick the dice and throw it, that's random. If you take the dice, shake it, and throw it, that's a little bit less random. You're trying to do something with the dice. But anyway, going back to the question, the biggest challenge I faced was personal, and then after that, it was getting consistency in my thoughts.
All right. Ed,
Go ahead, Ed.
you want to talk about what you faced personally? I'll put
Well,
the
boy,
chat back up.
I could go all over the board with that. From the biggest thing I think from what he's trying to ask for me was to realize how disappointed I was in what I thought I could do. Facing the reality that I had to really work harder to do what I wanted to do, just to gain a smidging of an edge, if you want to call it that, in the DI world. Because when I started, I thought I was pretty good, and then the more I worked at it, the more I realized I wasn't any good at it, and I kind of had to break myself down and build myself back up to get to the point to where I was could see improvement. So that's the hard part. Breaking yourself down, all of a sudden your ego's flying because maybe you walked into a casino or whatever and you thought, "Boy, I've got this figured out," and then the next 3 months you lose your ass. And you go back to your table and you go back to your table and you go, "Well, now I see why I'm not any good." So when you come to that realization, when you come to the realization that you're not any good at it, then you can build on it. And then you've broken yourself down to the very basics of starting over and really, really working on what it takes to improve and build consistency in this game. And it's not an easy game. It's a hard way to make an easy living, as Mad Dog said. But DI is a harder way of life than most people are willing to put in.
It's the false positive. It's the false positive aspect that you can sometimes get, and instead of trying to build on that and double check and triple check, you take your bankroll, run to the casino, and you throw it away. Be careful of false positive, and for again the ones that had to cheat their way out of kindergarten. False positive means that you get really good success immediately and without doing the same thing over a certain period of time. You just take it and run with it. It's kind of like when
All
the
right.
Tesla batteries first came out. They didn't test it for a long time, and they started blowing up and catching fires. That's false positive. Um,
All right.
I know there's going to be a lot of questions, and we're going to be doing this a lot. And questions can be in the commentary. We can try and I see a lot of questions in the chat. I will answer every single question, believe me. But I may not be able to go and look at chat. If you put it in the comments, I always reply. For everybody that has done anything in the comments, I came back and replied. So I think we're going to talk about the psychology of the game. We're going to have each segment. We're going to take one thing and we're going to go into details. This was just like a fire hose, just summary. Um, we can jump to questions, or what do you want to do?
Well, what I'd like to do before Ed goes is we're at the question and time period here. Before we get to the question and answers, can we tell them what to expect in 2 weeks? Because Chris from Sideshow won't be joining us until, if I'm not mistaken, the first episode in February. So, can you kind of tell us in summary what you
Yeah,
expect to talk about in the next hour? Because, like we said, we're going to keep this an hour show, and we would need feedback from the audience in order to go forward. But what do you think is going to come out of section two? And I'll start queuing up some questions.
that's fine. The next segment that we're going to do, we're going to talk about the mechanical aspect, and
Okay.
I'll have a camera behind me showing you what I do, what how I stand, how I approach it, how I toss the dice and stuff like that. And we're going to talk a little bit about what the dice does at the end of the table. We're going to talk about splatter, physics, and stuff like that. And maybe that's when we talk about the different access on access and stuff like that. The segment after that, we will talk a little bit about the we spoke a little bit some about the mental segment. After that, we'll talk about where's my cheat sheet? Sorry guys, I gotta have a cheat sheet here. um, we will talk about the mindfulness. What do I do when I go to the casino? What's the first thing I do? How do I scout table? How do I get free play at the table without the dice? There's something, I talk to the dealers, there's something I do, and I get to do like theoretical throws in the air. Um, all that stuff. That's going to be in the third segment. And then by then, we'll have him come on. And then what we'll do is we'll work with him a little bit, like maybe half an hour. And then we may do something else. I may throw and show a certain toss, and then we'll always take questions and answer. Um, I will try and do a toss depending on what the viewers want to see, or something, every segment, whether it's a tongue toss or underhand, or you know um, in the future segments, like after we work with. So what's going to happen is after we work with him for 1 or 2 segments, he's going to have homework. He's going to go away for a few weeks and practice, and then come back, and we should see improvements during that time. We can talk about layouts and dice. There's when casino dice, real casino dice, I have dozens and dozens and dozens signed by supervisors. In the wrapper that I got. We'll talk about layouts. Um, it's gonna be a series about anything you want to know. I will open up certain things of my personal life as a DI and can talk about them. Others I will not talk about. Um, I spoke more than I should need to the other day, and we'll take it from there. I think we will. The viewers will end up telling us really what they want.
Yep.
Ed,
Well, but before we get to the questions, and Ed, I want you to comment on this. I don't know if you saw it because it's on my channel. I'm going to put it up here one more time, and then we've got like 7 questions to get to that I feel are important. Lou, that's Lou from Atlantic City or from New Jersey, says true randomness only applies to the production of the outcome absence from the influence of any external factors. As a result of this condition, true randomness does not exist when influences are applied. Kind of a wordy thing there. Lou's actually posted that on a couple boards a couple times, but Ed, do you understand
First of
what he's
all,
trying to say?
if anybody wants to question Lou's intelligence, they just need to read that question, because he wrote that and I can't understand it. So, I mean, that's complicated. No, break it down. He's saying if I'm capable. I mean, that's a lot of wordy stuff right there. For an old country boy, that's a lot of wordy stuff, and it's kind of like taking one of them tests that are built by lawyers. You got to read if there's double negatives in there or not. But you've got to be able random, as he said earlier in the definition, is without any influence at all. So if we're applying some direction and some control, then we are then becoming less random, and you can say we're unrandom if you want to call it that. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, it does.
good.
It does.
Because I'd hate to try to do that again.
All right.
now,
Any comments on Lou's comment before we get to the questions?
I
Just
just
so you
wanna,
guys know, about 10 minutes left in the show.
yeah, I just wanna. I don't know if you can see my zoom in camera here.
Sure.
Um,
Hold on. Wait a second. I could even get closer than that. Or you want me to show something up front? Here we go.
no, just yeah. So this camera up in the right hand corner. When we talk about the physics, we're going to explain that. If you don't think that the dice react differently if it lands like this or like that on its, I don't know if you can see it, like this or like that on its side. If you
I think
don't
if you
think,
back up just a little bit and show it on the big screen where your hand is, it'd be easier to see. Like move in towards you. Move in towards the mirror. Yeah, that's good right there. Right there. Yeah, that's good.
okay, so if the dice, hang on, I'll do it even better. I got it right here. And we'll get to the questions. But now everybody can see it. Right here. If you don't think that the dice will react differently if it lands like this, or like that, then just leave. Go watch something else. Go watch MASH, because none of the things we're going to talk about between now and the end of the series will make sense to you. I'm just telling you. Don't even waste your time, because I guarantee you, there's a reason the dice does something when it lands like this, when it lands like this, when it lands like that, like that, or like that. It's called Physics 101 for those who never graduated kindergarten. All right, let's take questions.
All right, let's do this. I just wanted to put back up here that Ian Olson from the West Coast said he's watched this show that Ed did with Chris a summer ago, so it's been more than a year ago. And didn't he get some help out of it? I know a lot of people have rewatched that one, and Chris said that he definitely did get something, but he's still willing to be the dummy. All right, so let's go through the questions here. I'm going to go back. I got to scroll back. I'm going to go back almost an hour ago. And yes or no, I'm going to get to a couple of your questions. Arnell has several. I'm looking for the one that I'm looking for. This came from, where did it go? Oh my goodness. Give me one
Arnell,
second, guys.
I ordered some chips, so you'll be getting one. Everybody will be getting them. I was
This
told
one,
that I'm going to spend a lot of money in postage stamps. So,
that one may have already cleared off. It was from I don't want to say it wrong, but it was from Puckall first, and I know it's here. I just have got to find it. I may have already highlighted it by for some reason. Bear with me, guys. This is a producer's boo boo. Here it is. A question: what would you say is the difference between a good craps player versus a DI?
oh, very good question. Who's that? Puck off. Man,
Puckall. Yep.
that is a very, very good
That's my
question.
buddy.
Yep. Um, Ed walked off, so I guess he wants me to take this. Um,
No, I was just
you
getting a little
can
more brown water.
you can be a very good craps player and never touch the dice. Remember, I said dice influence DI is 15% dice setting and skill set. The rest of it is knowledge, discipline, and skill set, right? You can be a very, very good player without ever touching the dice or doing any dice influence at all. By learning the game, learning what it does, talking to people, getting strategies, and going out and doing your thing. The difference between that and a DI is that a dice influencer incorporates all that, the math, and everything else into and then adds on to enhance the advantage a dice influence skill set. That's the main difference
All right.
between the two.
Ed, do you have anything to add to that before we get to the next question?
Yeah, I do, and I'm probably going to be a little bit long-winded, so I know I'm going to run us over.
Your
Um,
fault.
yeah, I mean it's going to happen. That's why we say we're going to do an hour. That way we can keep it
Ah.
under two. Um, but I had a very good friend that I say a very good friend. I really did love this man, and I have not. I know I think he's passed. I'm just going to call him Charlie G. I've mentioned him before on occasions. And he was in his 80s, and he had lost his toss capabilities, but he was a freaking good craps player. He had all the other things that are required in a DI lifestyle. All of the M's. He had everything. He had everything except he just wasn't really good at tossing anymore because of his age. And I learned more, and I go back and I read my emails that he sent me, kind of critiquing me, critiquing him himself. We shared a lot of emails back and forth, and Charlie was no longer. Charlie was a DI from a DI lifestyle, but he didn't touch the dice anymore. So he was a great craps player because he had all the other pieces that still stayed in there with him, and he was in his 80s. So you know, I don't know if that really explains it, but I mean, it's when you got it, you got it, even if you're not throwing the dice. It's like heavy reading somebody throwing the dice that you think is semi-random or whatever you want to call it, but he knows how to bet them once he sees them throw once or twice. There's this innate thing that you've learned over the years that you'll never lose if you're at the tables and you've seen it enough and you've absorbed it.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So we're ready for the next question.
Yes,
Now you're
sir.
gonna make me scroll back because it was almost 35 minutes ago. Here we go. Comes from Arnell. Question: will you guys be scientifically proving DI? And I know that there's been a lot lately in the YouTube world using the word scientific, factual, and beliefs. So
Yeah.
how do you want to approach this
No.
question?
Well,
No.
that was in our disclaimer, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. But
All right. So
No. The
answer
answer is
question is
no. You cannot prove DI. You have to experience it for yourself. We will be scientifically proving why the par toss has the best odds for the dice to stay on axis. That's what we will be proving, and it has been proven, not by me. Again, I'm just going to relate, and I'm going to point to articles and a book by someone named Sharpshooter, very very intelligent person, engineer. I'm just going to repeat what they've done and demonstrate what they've done here on the table. But you cannot prove the eye.
okay,
You can prove it to yourself once you experience it. But if you're trying to prove it to somebody else, uh-uh.
right.
he's right.
Right.
Even you got to experience it. Once you experience it, then you know it.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. So you mentioned disclaimer, and Ed, you're going to get a kick out of what what Justice Jen said. But I'm going to go back to the disclaimer we talked about in the beginning.
Uh-oh.
And we're not selling anything. We're not guaranteeing anything. Information is based on experience
Maybe
and
we should have got
opinions.
her to write our disclaimer.
Well, actually, she's written one. So trust me, it's part one, part two. You'll get a kick out of it when you see it. Thank you, Jen. She's a lawyer, and we'll go with that. But what I'm saying is that what we said we were going to talk about and what we're going to actually get through the series with, does talk a little bit about, can you prove that it actually works? And I think the second one there, when you take the mindset, mindfulness, mechanics, and money management, when you put that all together, I think we're not going to scientifically prove it, but the doubters may be a little bit more aware that maybe there is something to it. Is that fair enough to say?
I think so.
All
Yeah.
right.
You gonna
I
give
heard,
us her disclaimer,
well,
or, or
I'd have to scroll back. If you want me to, I will. She's way back
email me the
here.
disclaimer, Jen?
I already bookmarked it and copied it. But let's see.
Okay.
She put two parts up there, and I don't see it at the moment. Here it is. Here's the first one. Here's the disclaimer. Disclaimer one: the views expressed herein are provided for informational and entertainment purposes only. The content of this video is not and shall not be deemed to be financial advice. And she has part two. Don't go nowhere. Part two. There are no implied or express guarantees or warranties. Please consult your tax financial advisor for any questions. Very
We
well
are
worded from a
going to use
lawyer.
that. We are going to use that at
Yeah.
the beginning of every segment. So I gotta
Yep.
confess here, Justice. Um, I kind of helped write the disclaimer, and I'm the IT guy. And the only disclaimer I have is, if it breaks, don't call me. Call support. Um, that's the only disclaimer I've ever worked with. So I appreciate it, but I think people get the gist. We're not trying to sell anybody anything, Kool Aid or no Kool Aid. We're
All right.
just trying to do things here and keeping it real.
Yep. We'll keep
Right.
moving. I don't know that we're going to be able to do this tonight, but I think this might be for a future show, Gargoyle. It says, can Gargoyle demonstrate or discuss how he used his toys to improve his throw? You've got what do you call that that you did on the show
Yeah,
a couple times?
we will not here, but we don't have time because they're over there, and I gotta. But we will. I
Okay.
will,
All right.
Everybody is
I'm
fascinated about that darn little old
dude. About the
pincushion
dirt, I don't know if I
wall.
want to get sand on my new layout. I don't know. I have to put a bigger towel. Okay, go ahead.
All right, anyway, this is just a comment I want to put up here. This is from Nine Ball Slim over on Ed's channel. Your thumb position, high, middle, or low. Middle finger, high, middle, or low. Thank you, emotional veterans, patriotic grip toss, all tied to roller coaster grip. And he followed that up with something else. So I don't know if there's a question in there, but I think what he's talking about is grip is highly important on the DI side. Any comments to what he said there? Does it matter? I can put this one back up here if you want. I just want
Just
people
show
to see
show
that.
show show my camera.
Okay, hold on one second. Full camera of you, or I'll put full camera of you.
Yes,
There you
full
go.
camera view.
All right.
They're both all the way on the top as far as I can on the top. Anything lower than that, and they'll start sticking to my hand.
Okay.
Now, if
There you
you're if
go.
you're
It
doing
depends.
par, if you're doing
It
par,
really depends.
Hold on. Ed's got something.
Can't show you can't see my thumb from here. But
Here.
it really depends on the person and how they're built, how their hands are built. And one of the things that I've done in the past, I that's a
Hold that
full
up.
pip on the backside
There you go. There you go.
and right about a full pip, all close
Up a
to
little
it.
bit. Up a little bit.
But you see the problem I've got with my pointer finger. It's shorter. That's a flaw. That's a physical flaw. So I have to overcome that flaw in some way. All right. So
yep,
everybody, I mean, I've worked with guys who've lost fingers and tried to develop a grip. They lost it in a sawmill or lost it in a carpentry accident or whatever. Uh, you run into those situations, but you can still develop a grip of some type, and it doesn't have to be the traditional three finger grip. It doesn't have to be what he just showed you. We got our little tendencies and our own individual things, but I've always been a real skinny. I mean, I used to be like really, really skinny, about a half a pip is what I call it. I don't know if you can see that, but
I I can put that up
um,
there higher. Uh, I mean, if you want to
do
put it back
what?
up there, I can put you full screen if you want to show it. Just raise your hand up a little higher than what you had it.
Well, a half pip.
There you go. That's good right there. Yep.
You see that? That's
yep.
not even a half pip. That's real skinny. That's my basic grip right there because I play in the South and it's humid and dice get sticky.
Okay.
Sticky and sweaty.
So something I'm sure
You know,
we could
sometimes you can get a little more control though. Sometimes a person can get more control and less rotation if they go a little deeper. So I mean, it's an individual thing that you've got to work through to get to that grip point.
All right.
And
Let's move on because that's something we can probably come back to, and I think you
yep,
probably will share that. So, in the essence of time, Arnell, who's got a mess of questions here, says, "Will you guys be doing slow mo of each of your tosses, start to finish?" Our plan, and I don't know that these two know that, Arnell, is that will be probably the only recorded session we do, and we're not going to worry about the outcome of what the number was rolled. We're going to hopefully we get some slow motion with the dice in the air. It's going to be kind of hard to do live, but we're going to try our best.
Somebody's gonna have
I
to
don't know how
go.
you can do it live. I'm not that
Somebody's gonna
smart.
have to show me how to do that on these cameras because
Oh, I got
I'm
slow
okay.
mo,
I mean,
but I got slow motion, but I think we need to record that at 120 frames per minute and then slow it down so it really looks good, like some other channels have done. So we're going to try to do that, Arnell, the best that we can. Next question here: have either one of you come close to quitting your dice influence path, and if so, what got you back on track? That comes from Chris Demon Dog.
Losing the
Anybody?
bankroll make you want to quit in a hurry.
Yes, it will.
But
Yeah.
yes,
I've never allowed myself to fail. Now I've been beat up, I've been stomped, I've been cut to the floor. I've been in the business world 40 years, and you don't fail unless you quit in anything in life. You know. So that's how I kind of grabbed onto it like a hound dog on a fresh bone, buddy. I mean, I just took off with it and I stayed on it.
All right. Moving on. Gargoyle, you got a comment on that, or do you want to just keep moving?
the answer is yes,
Okay. All right.
yes. And
That's
actually,
good.
I have. I did it for several months,
Well,
and
you know you.
then one day I realized that if I don't get back into it, then I didn't put 100% in it. I only put 99%. That 1%
There you go.
is going to
Perfect.
make a
All right.
difference.
Perfect.
Here's a great question from Alfredo from Texas Crap Shooters. What are your feelings about others in the community that continue to promote content that has no objectiveness towards DI being real, yet they profess to promote craps and DI? Thoughts towards negativity? I think that's what he means there. I can read it again if you need me to. What are your
No,
feelings? Go ahead.
no, but I mean, which community is he talking about? Is he talking about
Uh,
our community? Is he talking about just the YouTubers? I mean, it's a wide range. I'm gonna assume he's talking about YouTube in general, and you can't believe anything you see or hear on YouTube. I mean, if you're watching us, vet what we're saying. Don't take what we're that hence the disclaimers, right? Don't take what we're saying and just run. But um, you know, you gotta choose a side. You can't say, well, I don't believe in DI, but then set the dice and throw. Why the fuck? I'm sorry, Arturo. Why would you want to do that, but you don't? What are you doing? If you're setting the dice and throwing, what is it that you're trying to accomplish, if not any sort of influence? I mean, you gotta be real to yourself, right? If is it because it makes you feel better? And that's okay. If it makes you just feel better to set the dice and roll, but you don't believe in any influence, there's nothing wrong with that. There are people worse than that. Real quick, short story. This is going to make some people laugh, but I was asked a long time ago to give a 15-minute psychology lecture at a college. Me giving psychology lectures. So one of the things I was talking to them is that words matter. I've always said words matter. There's a difference between feel and believe. If you say, I believe in something, people will challenge you. Because, I believe Christianity is the right religion. No, I believe Buddhism is the right religion. No, I believe, people can challenge you. But if you say, I feel, and fill in the blank, people cannot challenge you on your feelings. Because those are your feelings. So if you feel happy about yourself when you set the dice and throw it, but won't believe in DI, that's fine. But say that. Say that. Let them know. Let people know, hey, I just feel good doing it. I don't believe in DI, but I feel good doing it. Don't say, yeah, maybe I believe in DI. But don't judge that person, because that person may be on their beginning journey. Everybody, it's a personal journey. The eye is a personal journey. Maybe they're still trying to figure it out. Maybe they're still trying to see whether there's something to this. Don't be quick to judgment.
well,
But
let
if
me get.
somebody's been doing this for like 10 years and they still haven't made up their mind, they're not going to make up their mind. They're going to take
Yeah.
that wishy-washy all the way to the grave.
Let me continue because he continued to talk, and I want to give him I want to be fair with what he said. So we know what he said at first of all. Then he came back and he said, "It's not just one person. I'm just asking opinions, as it seems we are asked to respect the opinions of others and titles. Yet we are all working on our own mastery of the game, while some have titles are allowed to speak way out of turn around others, just seeking views from the panel." And then somebody else said something in here. I'm not saying opinions are not valid to be made and shared at all. He was talking to something that John said. Just both sides should be defended from a nasty standpoint. And when it comes to DIs, we all get we get the naysayers. You see them on other channels and other shows. We get them in Craps Chat on Casino Gaming TV. We get them on Ed's show when he's doing his 2-hour Saturday night rollout. I pretend on my show, and I use the word pretend because I'm trying the best to produce a show, entertain, and set the dice. I'm horrible at it, I admit it, but I still want to learn, and that's why we're doing this show. So, from that whole standpoint of the community, we want to see the community come together. Whether you believe it or not, if you don't, tune out of the show. But if you're interested just to see if there's a slight chance that there might be something once Gargoyle and Ed work with Chris, then stay tuned.
Yeah, and opinions are okay. You know, I respect people's opinions, but don't force them on me, and don't make your opinions as if they were factual, because then they're not an opinion. You're stating a fact. And you know, I can tell you, and I don't want to stray too much from the conversation because I did promise Toro that I'm going to be nice, but I can tell you, I'm sick and franking tired of people taking what I say and misconstruing and stating it differently, even though I stated it in plain English. And I've only been here for a couple of months, so I can't wait to see what people are going to be saying that I said. Literally, Gargoyle said this, even though I didn't. You know, a year from now. But
Well,
people
look,
have their opinion; they have to be respected. But as
look
soon
what
as you start forcing them on me, I'm just going to turn you off. I'm just going to just click. You're gone. Bye.
Well,
Don't
you
play.
probably can't read. You probably can't read this, but El Toro makes a very good point. Having opinions are okay. It's when opinions are being forced onto someone that's not okay. Don't take it personal.
There you go. Thank you.
So, I know there was another question here, guys. I got to scroll back. So, real quick, last call for questions tonight, guys. We are overtime. Ed gave the permission to do the overtime. He's the one that has to work in the morning. Not that Gargoyle doesn't, but I don't. This is
Thank you
a
for
question.
clarifying that.
Yeah, yeah, well, you know, I talk to you a lot during the afternoon, and you're not getting a whole lot of work done. Not, I hope your boss isn't watching. But let me put this
He
back up
never
here.
will.
I can
He never will.
multitask. I can
Uh,
multitask.
Yeah, you can multitask on somebody else's dime. Question, let me put this back up here from Arnell. At what point will you know he, like that will be the student, is ready to go to hit the casino? At what point, as a DI, I assume is what he means, because you can go to the casino and play and just make bets, sit and stick right, rear right, left or right hook, and
Right.
you can just make bets all day long.
Um, I don't. It's up to the person that's practicing and what their goal is. You know, I'll know that I'm ready to go to the casino with a certain toss when I can throw it successfully 8 times out of 10 and, you know, and have 4 hits and down. If I can't do it 8 times out of 10, then I don't need to be in a casino. But this is me personally. That's my goal and my limitation. Each person has to know. Now, whether they're tossing good or not, you could tell. But if the mechanics are solid, we can say, hey, you beautiful toss, man. Your mechanics are solid. But again, I mentioned earlier, false positive. If somebody is new to this and they get their mechanics down, when they go to the casino, start slow. Qualify yourself. Qualify yourself as a shooter. Don't go over there and put 1,200. Don't be an idiot Gargoyle from the past. Be a smart Gargoyle from the present,
All right. Ed,
or
you got
even
any
a
comments?
smarter Gargoyle from the future. And don't do these shows. But
Yep.
but
Yeah.
qualify yourself.
Ed, do you have any comment on that, the
I
question?
done
Do I need to
forgot
put
what the damn question was.
At what
What
point
was
do you
the
think
question?
he, Arnell's saying, at what point do you think he, that would be the student that's going to come on, Chris from Sideshow Gamble, would be ready to hit the casino? And he left off DI, but I think he meant as a DI.
Yeah, I mean, that's an individual decision. I just read a post, and I'm sitting here trying to remember the guy's name. I played with him once in Indiana. I can't think of his name. God, he's one of the old timers in the game, and I think he said something like he logged 50,000 tosses before he ever walked into a casino. So that
Wow.
was his point. That was his trigger. And he walked into that casino, not immediately, don't take this wrong, but according to him, over time, he paid off his mortgage, all of his debts before he retired, playing craps. Now, that's a good thing if you can do it. But I don't have the discipline to throw 50,000 times before I go to the casino and see if it's going to work. I just admit it. But this guy did. So everybody's got an individual trigger.
Okay.
I think there's all, I'm gonna get, I'm fixing to get lamb blasted big time. I think that with proper mechanics and repeatable mechanics, you can overcome those pyramids. I think the pyramids in reality are there to make you think they randomize the dice more than they actually will if you've got the same repetitive toss.
Yep, agree.
All
You
right.
can overcome them by the velocity, the force that the dice is going, how high, how
And I
low.
know, and I know Alfredo had some good comments in there earlier, and Gargoyle answered them very well. Uh, Appreciate him watching tonight. I
Yeah.
didn't really. I'm not going to go back into all that, but I know that Gargoyle answered them pretty well. So let's go.
All right. Let's keep moving. A couple more questions, and we're going to call it. I'm going to end with Fran's question of the night. So, Fran, hang in there. We're
Bill
going to get to
Collins.
you.
Bill Collins. Bill
Yep.
Collins. Me and Demon
Yep.
Dog played with Bill Collins.
Yep.
He
I,
just
I
put it
put.
up. That was him.
Yeah. I put
That
it
was
up
the
on
guy.
the chat while you were talking about it. It was Bill Collins. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did
Sorry.
do that. Yep. All right. So this
Hey,
comes from.
Jeff, real quick, before we get to the last question. Scott, I think it's Schaefer.
Scott Schaefer.
Yeah. So I don't know you, buddy. We're
I
cool,
personally
but
know Scott.
yeah. I just want to mention from your comment. My opinion is I disagree with Bone Thrower. I'm not going to tell you my opinion of him, but you can't control random. You can influence random, but you can't control random. That's the reason why it's called random.
All
Um,
right. You're,
and by the way, Bone Thrower, if you go back and watch his video in 2018, that's gonna ruffle some feathers. Back in 2018, Bone Thrower did the flea flicker, and he called it the Bone Crusher. So that's another thing that somebody has something to say about that. But anyway,
all
go
right.
ahead.
All right. Well, you're throwing the producer off when you asked a question that I was going to bring up later. But here we go. So this is from Cash and Cashing. So many craps channels out. How do you know which ones are fake, liars, and scammers?
What we said in the slides. They
Oh,
look at the messaging, look at the content, look at their behavior. Not
all right.
just on one video, but several. I know. I'm not gonna say who they are, but there are at least four that come to my mind real quick. That in a period of 3 weeks, they've changed their mind about something at least 10 times. They tell you they're not, but any smart person can. Look at their messaging, look at their content, and if they are behaving like they have godlike powers, just that's it. You know that you know they're hustlers. There's no such thing as godlike powers on a craps table. I don't care who you are. Again, I'll say it. If you think you have godlike powers, do not bring a dime. I will pay for your travel plans. I will pay for your room. I will pay for everything. And I will put all my money on the table and share it with you. The problem is that person doesn't exist, because if anybody has godlike powers, they are making money behind the scenes and they are running. They're not out on YouTube bragging about it.
That's a fact right there.
Yep.
That's a
All right.
100% fact.
So
You can also see if they like make pizzas and stuff. That's one way to find out.
that's already been
Yep.
mentioned in this show once tonight. So let's go on.
I didn't mean to say that. That was the
Couple
brown
more
water speaking.
a couple more questions because they're really good. I just want to make sure on this first episode we get to it. I'm going to go back to. Sorry, you guys have thrown me off by jumping ahead. It was a comment.
Didn't
Oh,
mean
just
to.
a comment. Dusted one. Gargoyle would like to see You and Darth Vader shoot the dice. Now, we probably will see you throw the dice in this series, but I can't speak for Darth Vader because he's not, as far as I know, not going to be on
No,
the show. But
he wants to see the cutout board, the Darth Vader board. I think shoot the dice. That's yeah. I
oh,
don't
I
think he
got
means
you.
Darth Vader.
Okay,
Yeah,
well
I
That
don't
ain't gonna
think.
work.
let's move on
Yeah,
to the next
He's
question.
a dark fighter. He doesn't shoot the dice.
Yep. Are craps tables expensive to buy used, or do you make your own? I think one of you take this real quick about what you can do at home and not necessarily buy a
Let me
professional
jump on
used
that.
craps table. Yep, go ahead.
Let me jump on that because if you go back and watch my old YouTube channel, videos I made first several months when I had my channel, I was practicing on a homemade table. Now that table was probably 3 years old before I started making videos. So I had a homemade table a long time before I started my channel. Um, Something is better than nothing, and homemade you can do just fine. Just get your measurements, get an average height rails. You know, they ain't got to be padded. They don't have to have chip rails, but they do need to be, whatever your room will allow you. And some people can only do a throwing station. Some of the best tossers I know don't own a table; they own a tossing station, and they practice tossing from straight out into a tossing station. So you know, I, ultimately, it doesn't. I mean, lumber's going up, so it's going to cost you whatever it's going to cost you. But you can build a table for $500 or $600, then spend what you want to on layout and underlayment. You're going to have to order parts from here. You're going to have to order from somebody. You got to get your pyramids. If you want a stick, you got to order a stick. Sticks are so damn expensive. I couldn't believe it when I ordered mine. So I don't break my stick because I learned that with golf clubs. Um, you know, so you just you gotta do what you gotta do. But if you want to make a homemade table, man, make a homemade table. There's the basic standards for making one on Heavy's website, and they're just there to download for free.
Yep.
yep.
And
Those are the plans that were put into a CRC cutting machine that made the table that I've got right now. So just make you something. There's not
and
you can make it as fancy or as just plain Jane as you want to, but you need
and there
10
are
feet,
some
8, whatever.
there are some channels out there that actually go through the ability making point, like Craftsmaster Journey Joe.
Arnell did
Yep.
his.
Yep. Arnell, Craftsmaster
Joe did.
Journey. Yep.
Both of
So
them
there.
did a great job.
Yep.
Um, I did a really poor job showing you what mine looked like as I was taking it apart because mine was already built. I took my homemade one apart and then I put this one together. Kind of showed how that went, but that's not what he's trying to get into, but it's out there.
All right.
Darcy, can I? Is that a question you want answered?
I'm sure it is.
Okay, so most of the casinos that I know of, Vegas and other places, use closed cell phone and then vinyl, thin layer of vinyl, and then the layout. And if they want to make it bouncier, then they use another cell phone and vinyl on top. Um, Other casinos, they get lazy, so they just put another one layout on top of the other, and they have 8, 9, and it becomes very bouncy. And then one day they come in, take everything down, and then just put one over there. Um, Nobody uses. I'm sorry, Adoro, I almost fell off the bike. So I'm just going to say um, that's mostly what people use. And one of the segments we're going to do about layouts. I have different layouts from when they first started at felts, and then how they went to microfiber suede, and then what they have now and what they use underneath, and you can tell the difference. I can walk to a table and know what type of bounce it is sometimes just by looking at the layout, because I see battle scars. So most people use closed cell phone and vinyl, thin vinyl on on top of it, makes it a little bit bouncy. Really, they don't do it on purpose to make it bouncy. They do it to protect the microfiber,
Okay.
the layout. On this
If
one,
they
I have
make them, you know,
yeah. On this one, I have closed cell phone. I have stretched billiard felt. I have Harris, the mauve Harris layout that you guys seen, and this. I wanted to torture myself. So
Ed,
So,
you're going to add something?
yeah, I mean, I'm just going to throw a couple quick things in there. I don't think many of them are using neoprene, to be honest with you. I think some of them may have tried it, but I don't think. Again, I think it was to protect the layout because layouts are expensive, and they go through a lot of them. But you also got to understand that chasing dice around on the casino floor and picking them up, and some guy that's hollering same dice every time, and they got to go pick it up. That costs them. That costs the casinos money when that happens because they're not getting in tosses per hour that they want to get in. So they don't make
yeah,
them, in my opinion. Again, going back to the disclaimer, in my opinion, they don't make them super bouncy so that they got to go chase dice all over the freaking casino floor because they're not making any money when that's happening, right? If the guy requests same dice, they're going to give him the same dice, and they may lose 30 or 45 seconds in between a roll just before they can get the dice back in. And the way those casino floors are made, it's hard to find a dice sometimes unless somebody watches it hit. I'm getting way off. But one time I was at a Harrah's, and I went down into the garage to go to my car, and there was a particular floor on that garage, had this little gate by it, and they were rebuilding some tables back there. And the gate was open. So I walked back there and looked at the tables that they were rebuilding. And they had on those tables, on those particular tables, they had what looked like quilt batting underneath.
yep.
Okay. Now, that was an older style, but that was what they used. And again, it's to protect the layout because these layouts get beat to hell over a 24-hour period. You'll see casinos switching which table's open 24 hours, this table, then the next day it's this table that's open 24 hours. They may open both of them at certain times, but one of they try to revolve through them because those layouts are getting beat up. And if they've got to stop the table and bring a crew in the middle of the night, pick it up, change the layout, or add a layout over the top of it, all that's costing them money. They don't like spending money. They like collecting
Yep.
money. So don't believe everything you see on the internet, as Abe Lincoln used to say. Don't believe everything you see on the internet that relies to why they do the bounciness and what they put under. Because most of that shit you see on YouTube is bullshit.
Yeah, and take it from somebody who's waited hours and hours for people to come in at the casino, change the layout so that I can take that layout because it was promised. I've sat at a blackjack table like this for 3.5 hours at one casino. For 3.5 hours because I was told that they're going to change the layout in 10 minutes. And I wasn't going to move. My wife would text me, call me. I'm like, nope, I'm going to sit here and wait. And guess what? I got that freaking layout. It's here in my house. But I also saw what's underneath it. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe people tell you, oh, I got a hard table, now I can do this, and now it's bouncing. Don't believe the hype, guys. Just be real. Be real.
All right, we got two questions. One of them's more of a statement. I think you guys will probably agree with. But Badger, that's Jim. Badger 87 wants to know how often are the episodes in the series going to be. We're actually going to try to do them every other Tuesday, depending if there's a fifth week in the month that may not appear. But our plan is every other Tuesday. Ed or G, correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yes, unless I'm traveling for business or
Yes.
something like that. That's the plan.
That's our hope.
Yep. And here's a question, Ed, from your good friend Fran in Vegas. It's not a question; it's more of a statement. What makes a DI player better? That should be the question. I think we're trying to answer here in this series. That should be better, so winning more. So I'll read it again. What makes a DI player better? That should be the question. They should be better. I think the word "they" is, but he left the Y out. They should be better, so winning more. I think that's what it's all about. If you believe in the DI and you're able to increase your SOR uh, by or SRR by just one roll, it can make a big difference.
You know, look, if you're a DI, you know when to walk away from the table. That's rule number one. It's when to get the hell away from it. If your toss isn't working or something's wrong, you can tell your mechanics are off. You can't adjust to the table. What rule number one should be don't play unless it's to your advantage to play, right? Otherwise, you're an
Yes.
action junkie.
Yeah.
And I'm accused of being an action junkie. I get it. But in reality, to be a DI, you don't play unless it's to your advantage. And you don't play on tables that are not advantageous to your toss. And you need to get away from it. I don't care if you shot a 53 on it yesterday and you go in there the next morning, and I've done this, and you throw 7 PSOs in a row, you need to get the hell away, right? I mean, that's what a DI does. DI doesn't sit there and try, I'm going to beat this table. I'm going to overcome it. No, that's not what a DI does. A DI says something's off and I got to walk away. That's part of the lifestyle. Right, Gargoyle?
Oh, and I'm going to add one thing to it. It's going to piss some people off. Oh, there's a don't player on there. I'm going to go show him how to play the game. I'm going to teach him a lesson because he's playing the don't. I know people like that.
Yeah.
Well, I used to know people like that. Let me put it that way.
I like that, guys. All right, guys, we're at an hour and 30 minutes into the show. Our next show is going to be, I just looked at the date, is going to come up on January 23rd, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. For those of you that are new to both channels, we are dual streaming Mid-Atlantic Craps. I'm the producer here in Maryland. Ed, Roll to Win, Craps is down in Alabama. And G, or Gargoyle, and I call him G, is in Georgia. So that's where we're putting the show together. We actually made it
Go
through,
down.
Ed. The wind is whipping. I just caught a glimpse of it. We just had a gust of 49 miles an hour, and I still have internet. I still have power, so we made it through the show, guys.
Thank you. I'm glad we did.
Oh, yes, we did. Little
And next
hiccups
week,
here and there.
next week we will work on mechanics. Get your popcorn ready because I'm going to be throwing and you're going to be laughing your tails off. But that's okay. Look, the eye is not about having a beautiful toss and a beautiful rest at the end, and that's not the eye. You know, there are a lot of beautiful tosses that end up in seven. Uh,
All right.
but hey, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it on this baby right here that I love. I love you. Don't treat me wrong, baby. I don't want to
All right.
divorce.
I'm going to have a follow up real quick. We'll come back to that. Richard Cheney wants to know, G, did you make your table super bouncy, and will you change it before you go back to the casino? I know why you made it super bouncy. Can you tell them again why you made it that way?
Yes. So let me answer the question first. No, I won't change it before I go back to the casino because I know how to throw in the casino. I've been doing it for years and years and years and years. Mechanics, muscle memory, all that comes into play. And I can throw the mechanics here, and I know the dice goes all over the place, but I know why it's going all over the place. So my mechanics, my and landing zone, and all that stuff doesn't change. Reason why I made it bouncy is because I wanted to show people on YouTube that watch the show the real struggle when it comes to DI. Some people have a local casino that only have bouncy tables, and they go in and bet because they can't throw the dice. Other people on YouTube have neutral bounce, no bounce at all. It's a plywood. You go clock clock, and then they tell you about how good they are and 30 rolls and I don't have to worry about anything. I just go like this and the dice just dies. That's good and that's good. They only do one toss and they but don't make it general. Don't speak for the public. So the reason why this is bouncy is because this is real. This is live, unedited, real. You're gonna see me struggle, you're gonna see me persevere, and at the end of the year you're gonna see me succeed or you're gonna see another table here.
All right.
Joe, bounce. I made mine more bouncy when I got my new layout. I had
No,
beat.
no, 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 no.
I mean,
Tell him exactly. Tell him. Say it honestly. You didn't make yours more bouncy. I made
then it
you.
was. I made it more bouncy than it was because I had beat the fool out of the underlayment.
Yeah,
Y'all remember that black? Y'all can look that black layout. It had a white circle down there where I had hit the landing zone over and over and over and over, and I had beat the underlayment to death under that thing.
yep.
I don't know if that's what you're talking about, G, but I
No,
added
I'm just saying.
another layer of
Still waiting.
so I've
I'm
got.
still waiting for the layout. That's all I'm saying is I'm still waiting for the layout.
We got to talk to the guy that's supposed to send you that layout to put in your collection when we get a chance.
Yeah,
I
I
ain't been
know.
able to find it. He's been
Um,
hiding.
but
But
look, guys,
you know,
if you can
I've
think,
got two
if you
layers.
can,
I've got two layers of. I'm going to say my felt. I'm not going to call it billiard felt because I feel that that's kind of thin. In my mind, I see that as thin. I don't know if that's really thin or not, but it's got to be. I can pull a piece out from underneath my table. It's probably 3/16. So I've got two layers of 3/16 inch felt underneath my new layout, and that's plenty of bounce. That's plenty of bounce. Makes you
yeah,
it makes you toss softer,
yeah,
right? Bounce makes you toss softer. It makes you learn softer mechanics. We're getting into stuff that's going to be in future episodes already, but bounce
Yes.
makes you toss softer. And if you get on a really hard surface, one that's like concrete, well, that soft toss is going to work really well on those folks. If it's a lot bouncier than mine, you got to adjust your layout. You got to adjust where your landing zone is and all those kind of things. You got to make decisions or you got to walk. Can I tame it or can I walk? Taming the
yep.
Shrew. That's a
All
famous
right.
novel.
That's what
Sounds
I'm.
like
That's what this is the shrew right here.
Sounds like we're going to be moving on to episode 2 on the 23rd. Scott Schaefer says it's his birthday on that day. Well, my birthday's the day before that.
Happy
Scott.
birthday to both of you.
Well, not yet. I don't. It makes me a year older. But I like what El Toro said. I'm going to kind of end on a funny note here. He says, "Dang, Father Timekeeper." I think he's talking about me trying to keep
You
the show
are.
moving along. And here you go, Gargoyle. This is something that's been asked 3 times now tonight, and I'm gonna display it up here. And maybe you can briefly tell it, or maybe touch on it in the opening of the next show. Is Jeff equals Mid Atlantic Craps, Ed equals Roll to Win, Gargoyle equals with a question mark, and what they're asking is, do you really have a name other than Gargoyle? Because obviously that thing above you is a figure. So I don't know if you want to
Oh,
answer it now or in another episode,
I
but
don't know.
they
I've been
have definitely
called
said that.
butthead. I've been called dumbass. Call me what you want. Just don't call me late for dinner.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and get the final words out here. G, we'll go to you, then we'll come back to my friend Ed. Final words for tonight's show.
Final words. We're making this as real as possible, live. This is no BS. Hopefully, some people will learn, take the good, throw away the bad and the ugly.
All right, Ed, any final words?
A couple, and I'm probably going to be shameless and do a quick commercial. But first of all, I want everybody on Jeff's channel, on my channel, if you would, hit that thumbs up button. Or you can hit the thumbs down button. We don't really care, but hit one of those buttons one way or the other. The only thing that hurts is if you don't. I shouldn't have said that. So hit a button. Leave comments at the end of the video when we're done. Support Jeff. Support Jeff's channel, please. If you want to support me, now that I've got my Patreon up and running, I just want to say I have been overwhelmed by the people who have come in to support my efforts on YouTube and inside the Patreon. The Patreon supports them and supports the Patreon piece as well as what we're doing tonight. I'm just being honest with you. So I appreciate all of you that do that. And I thank you very much. And we couldn't do any of it without that guy right up there. Look, I've learned stage right from stage left really well, Jeff.
Stretch it
I mean,
out,
I'm even
Ed. Stretch it
pointing.
out.
I'm even pointing right there to you, buddy. You know, I don't have front and back real good. There we go. That guy right there. Support him any way y'all can during his weekly shows. I appreciate y'all supporting Jeff. I love Jeff. He's a good friend, and he is a hell of a producer on these kind of shows.
Yep.
Tonight I'm struggling. No automation tonight, guys. I can tell you that. It's been really
It's all right,
difficult.
Jeff.
And
We love you anyway.
thank you.
I'll
Thank
do
you,
a
Jay.
rant some other day.
See, I'm supposed to switch to
Rants
that
are on
screen, and
Patreon.
my automation isn't even doing it. There you go. Somebody was hoping that Ed was going to go on a rant, because typically, Ed, on our shows, you usually have a one-liner that kind of hangs out there. That could be a T-shirt. There it is. I appreciate the thanks. Appreciate everybody being patient with us. Just so you know, Ed, we pushed over 140 at concurrent at one point tonight,
Wow.
according to the
140,
software.
wow. That's a
Mostly
record.
on your,
For the record.
mostly on. Yeah, it is. Mostly on your show, your channel, because we're dual streaming, and you're the educator, I'm the entertainer, but I do like to produce shows. We have a Craps Chat coming up season 3 that's going to be airing sometime here in the near future. I believe it's going to be this Sunday night, but I haven't specifically talked it out yet. But, there's all kinds of craps entertainment, craps education, and like we said in the disclaimer, there are fakes and phonies and scammers and everything. Guys, you really got to know the difference, and we're going to try to, I've been producing it, but these guys here, Ed and Gargoyle and Chris from Sideshow, we hope that, 2 or 3 months from now, somebody will get something out of this this show. And with that said, guys, I appreciate all the nice comments. I think it's time for us to head out of here. Ed, we said we couldn't do it in an hour. We didn't do it in an hour, but it's been a great show, or at least I think it's been a great first show. Thanks to you two. Thanks to the viewers, the subscribers, and the members that have supported us. And I'm with that. If you're ready to get out of here, I'm ready to get out of the show. And we'll see you in 2 weeks on the 23rd of January, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7% Central, and whatever time that makes it 5 on the East Coast. Any last words from you?
Practice like you play. Play like you practice.
There you
Go
go.
roll to win.
Be safe. Play smart.